Today's read aloud is called Crouching Tiger. It is written by Ying Chang Compostine and illustrated by Yan Nashabani. My grandpa was coming to visit all the way from China. When he arrived, I rushed out to greet him. "Hello, Grandpa," I bowed, as Mom had told me to. "Ni hao." "Hello." "Ming da," Grandpa mussed up my hair. The next morning, Grandpa was dancing slowly in the garden with his eyes closed. His hands moved like gliding birds, and he crouched like a tiger. He drew an invisible bow, and he lifted a foot like a rooster and stood still. I ran outside. "What are you doing, Grandpa?" He continued his slow dance. I waited until he opened his eyes. "Good morning, Ming Da. I am practicing Tai Chi." "Tai Chi?" "Yes, it is an ancient martial art." "Oh," I said, "like Kung Fu?" And I showed off my favorite kicks and punches. Grandpa watched quietly. Feeling my face burn, I stopped. "Could you teach me, please?" I asked in a low voice. Grandpa looked straight into my eyes and then nodded slowly. As soon as I got home from school, I ran out to find Grandpa. "Let's start with the standing meditation," he said. Bending his knees slightly, Grandpa held out his hands as if holding an invisible balloon. "That's easy." I copied his position. Grandpa adjusted my legs. "Focus on your breathing and clear your mind," he instructed. Soon my knees grew tired and I started to wobble. Grandpa put his hands on my shoulders. "Stand steady, breathe." How long did he expect me to do this? My arms felt as heavy as bricks. I dropped my hands. "Take a short break and then try again," said Grandpa. As the weeks passed, I felt cheated. Maybe Grandpa didn't know real Kung Fu. "Grandpa, my arms are worn out," I complained. "If your arms feel heavy, that shows you need more practice, Ming Da." Although he spoke English perfectly well with Dad, Grandpa always talked to me in Chinese. "My name is Vincent, Grandpa. Your Chinese name is Ming Da. You are Chinese as well as American," he said firmly. On Monday morning, Mom announced that Grandpa would take the bus with me to school. "But Mom..." "No buts, Ming Da. It will give you a chance to spend more time with Grandpa, and it's on his way to Chinatown." To avoid talking to him, I read on the bus. Mom picked me up after school. When we got home, Grandpa was still out. What's Grandpa doing in Chinatown, Mom?" "He's training the lion dancers for the New Year parade." "Is he teaching them how to stand still, too?" Mom frowned. No, Vincent. The lion dancers are serious martial arts students. They've been practicing for years." When Grandpa got home, I hid in my room. The next morning on the way to school, I jammed my headphones into my ears to avoid talking to Grandpa. It didn't seem to bother him. He greeted people warmly on the street. A worker was hauling boards from a truck. A woman rushed past us, talking loudly on her cell phone. Unaware of her, the worker turned, the end of his board speeding toward her head. In a smooth motion, Grandpa crouched like a tiger, swept up a leg, and kicked the board, breaking it nearly in half. "Wow, Grandpa, how did you do that?" I asked. He smiled. "Lots of practice. I started at your age." That night when Grandpa practiced his standing meditation, I joined him. Over time, I could focus more on my breathing. My legs and arms didn't feel quite as heavy. One afternoon, Grandpa put a long bamboo pole into my hand. He taught me the catwalk, keeping my body low and walking slowly, shifting my weight from side to side. I meditated every day and practiced the catwalk while holding the pole up high. I kept hoping Grandpa would teach me to whack things with the pole, but by the time New Year's came, I still hadn't gotten to hit anything. On New Year's Eve, we cleaned the whole house. Dad cut my hair, and Mom cooked a big traditional meal. Grandpa handed me a red silk jacket embroidered with dragons. Ming Da, wear this for the parade tomorrow. My heart sank. All my friends would be there and see me in this silly jacket. I excused myself and I left the table. When we got to Chinatown, Grandpa took my hand. Stay close to me. It will be crowded. I couldn't pull away from his strong grip. I hope I wouldn't meet anyone from school. Shouts and cheers mixed with the crackle of thousands of firecrackers. Grandpa led me to a pastry stand. Ni hao, the vendor spoke Chinese, and Grandpa so fast I couldn't keep up. Such a handsome boy. Here are your favorite pastries, the vendor said. He gave me a bag with meat buns, sesame balls, and coconut cookies inside. Thank you. How did you know? He smiled and pointed at Grandpa. He's told me many good things about you. You even study on the bus. He smiled and pointed at Grandpa. Embarrassed, I avoided Grandpa's eyes. Let me pay for these, said Grandpa. No, this is my New Year's gift to your grandson. They pushed the money back and forth as if they were on fire. Finally, the vendor stuffed the money into Grandpa's pocket. Go, go, the parade starts soon. Grandpa bowed, and I copied him. Pushing through the crowd, we met a large group of eager spectators. Ni hao, Grandpa greeted them. This is Ming Da, my grandson. Ni hao, they said with big smiles. I jumped when one of Grandpa's friends thrust a Hong Hao, a red envelope that contains money, into my hand. Shishi, thank you, I bowed. They chuckled and stuffed more envelopes into my arms. Grandpa led me through the crowd to the beginning of the parade route. A group of men wearing jackets just like mine and carrying lion costumes greeted Grandpa warmly. Meet my grandson Ming Da, Grandpa called out. Ni hao, Ming Da. Lion dancers gathered around us. I'd never been so close to the lions. I stroked their glistening scales. Let's get ready, Grandpa commanded. The lion dancers ducked under their costumes and got into position. Grandpa handed me a long bamboo pole with a cabbage dangling from the top. Ming Da, you will be the cabbage boy. He leaned down close to me. I think you're ready for this role. My heart jumped with joy. Don't let the lions get your cabbage, Grandpa instructed. I nodded obediently and gripped the pole. Grandpa lit the firecrackers, signaling the start of the parade. The martial artists led the way. They leaped and whirled about with spears, swords, and other weapons. Grandpa signaled, and I marched off, focusing on keeping the cabbage just out of the lion's reach. People clapped and cheered at the top of their lungs. Many fed the lions Hong Hao. As we approached the end of the parade, Grandpa yelled, Ming Da, let the lions have the cabbage. I lowered the pole. The lions bit at the cabbage and tore it apart, spraying the leaves onto the crowd. I was soaked in sweat and my arms were aching, but my heart was filled with pride. Good job, Grandpa patted my head. The martial artists and the lion dancers gathered around me and bowed to Grandpa. Shishi, thank you, Master Chang, for a great parade. When Grandpa and I headed home, it was growing dark. I grabbed his arm. Grandpa, I said, I promise I will practice harder. Grandpa took hold of my hand. Mingda, remember that a good martial artist must first gain self-discipline. The standing meditation looks simple, but it builds your inner strength and increases your speed and power. I nodded. To study martial arts is a serious commitment. It takes many years of hard work and dedication. He paused. I held my breath. I believe you have potential. Thank you, Grandpa. I promise to do my best. Grandpa smiled. And now, he said, shall we enjoy these pastries? So in China, there are two major schools of martial arts, Shaolin and Wadang. Shaolin was created by Buddhist monks as a form of discipline and defense. It requires external strength and encourages agility and reflexes. Wadang sprang from the ancient Chinese religion of Taoism. It's a gentle, slow art of movement and breathing, also called Tai Chi, and it stresses the internal skills of stillness. Wadang encourages inner body strength. Many Chinese believe that in order to achieve outer strength, one must first gain inner stillness. Tai Chi is the foundation of martial arts. Today, Tai Chi has spread all over the world as a form of exercise rather than for fighting and defense. Chinese New Year is one of the most important and exciting Chinese holidays. It is a celebration of spring as well as the beginning of a new year. The Chinese lunar calendar determines when it occurs, usually between mid-January and early February. The celebration lasts for 15 days with feasts, parades, and fireworks. During this time, children bow to their elders to show their respect. In return, they receive Hong Hao, red envelopes containing money. To ensure a happy and lucky new year, families prepare in many ways. They clean the house to sweep out the old and welcome the new. Children get their hair cut to leave bad luck behind, and they wear new clothes to confuse the spirits that may be evil. So I hope you enjoyed that story with some Chinese cultural highlights to it. You will find some activities that will help to reinforce it in our Sunday school links. So enjoy, and we'll see you next week.